Okay, so well friends, we were in the process of beginning of the unit 2. So already we have seen some of the important points in the unit 2, but once again because of this long gap, I'm going to start this with once again. Okay, so as you are aware, unit 2, which deals with the study of ferrous and non-ferrous. Okay, so as you are aware, the study of ferrous materials is which the iron is the main constituent and remaining other elements are in minor content and this is in major content. So in the nature, okay, so majority of these structural applications have been used by these ferrous materials. Okay, so the study of ferrous metals is more important than non-ferrous because of various advantages. Okay, so all these are structural elements, automobile, aerospace, all these for the structural applications, basically it is preferred for the ferrous materials. So earlier, all these ferrous materials were used for all the applications. Nowadays, because of the technology and advancements in the materials, now structural materials like ferrous have been slowly replaced by the non-ferrous materials and also composites. Okay, so non-ferrous materials are the materials which the iron is in minor element and other elements like aluminum, copper, zinc, manganese, all these are in major contribution. So this is just a overall introduction about the ferrous and non-ferrous, and I think already you have gone through in your UG courses about the ferrous and non-ferrous materials. So now let us see the study of these ferrous elements more in detail. So this is alpha, this is austenite, and this is delta phase. So I'm going to give you about the temperatures. So this is 727, 910, 1400, 1439 and 1539. So here this and this. So this is so this is delta plus liquid, austenite plus delta, alpha plus austenite, ferrite plus Fe3C. This is Fe3C. This is austenite plus Fe3C. This is Fe3C plus liquid. This is austenite plus liquid. So here, whatever is there in this region, this is in the liquid phase. So all here is the liquid phase. Here it is delta. So this is the region which comes between the liquid and the delta phase. So this is delta in liquid phase. So this region comes in between the delta and the austenite phase. So this is austenite plus delta phase. So this region comes in between the austenite and the ferrite phase. So this is ferrite plus austenite. So here this side is austenite, this is ferrite. So this region from here to here, this is the region of ferrite and cementite. So some people even call this plus ledobrite also. But generally, ledobrite is not a most popular phase, hence it is not considered. So generally, they call this austenite plus cementite, ferrite plus cementite. Some people even call it as ledobrite also. Doesn't matter, both are same. Or you can add this additionally. Okay. So here, up to this steels, up to this 2%, this is classified as steels. And above this, okay, is classified as cast iron. Okay, so all these are basically derived from the element called ferrite, that is ferrous. Ferrous materials are classified into these categories, that is steels and cast iron. Okay, so up to the 2% of carbon, this is weight percent of carbon, and this is the temperature. So iron and carbon. Okay, so this forms the iron carbon equilibrium diagram, which differentiate further into the steels and cast iron, where iron is the major contributor and other elements like carbon is what minor contributor for this iron carbon equilibrium diagram. So this is the base for this steels and cast iron. So now let us see further. This is the weight percentage of the carbon. Okay. This is 0%. This is 6.67% max of carbon. So remember here, so when we are discussing about this weight percent of carbon, so this starts with 0. Generally in all other phase diagrams, this is 100%. Okay, 100% of carbon. But we cannot take 100% carbon here. The maximum solubility of carbon in iron is 6.67%. Okay, so whereas for other elements, okay, which are of non-ferrous, so aluminum, silicon, copper, nickel, all those goes for the 100% here. Okay, so instead of 6.61%, you should take it as 100% for other elements. Only for the iron carbon equilibrium diagram, you should consider 6.67% of carbon. Okay, so why is, so maximum solubility in iron of carbon is 6.67%. If you add beyond this, what will happen? This will remain as free carbon. So further dissolution of carbon in iron is not contributing anything for the properties of the iron. Hence, it is not taken as 100% as in case of other elements. Hence, it is limited to only 6.61% only because the maximum solubility limit of carbon in iron is 6.67%. So here we are going to consider 6.67% as relative, which is considered to be as 100% compared to other elements. Now, this is the 0% of carbon. So this is 2% of the carbon as we have seen there, and this region is called as steels, and beyond this up to this is called as cast iron. Okay, so this steels, again it is further classified into low carbon steel, medium carbon steel and high carbon steel. So steels are further classified into three categories. So the maximum solubility of carbon in steel is 2%. So this 2% of the steels, further it is classified into three categories, that is low carbon steel, medium carbon steel and three high carbon steel. So from 0, so ideally speaking this is not 0, this is 0.008% of carbon. So you can see here this, okay. This is not exactly 0, this is 0.008%. Okay, so hence I am not going to take it as 0, I am going to take it as 0.008% and up to 0.3%. This is region 1. One is this low carbon steel. Second is from 0.3 to 0.8%. Okay, it is second region. What is second region? This medium carbon steel is the second region. And the third is 0.8 to 2% is region 3. So what is this region 3? Is nothing but high carbon steel. So 008, this is low carbon steel, medium carbon steel, high carbon steel. So this is weight percent of carbon. Okay. So all these three regions comes under this category. Okay. So this I can further distribute this as region 1, this as region 2 and this as region 3. So low carbon steel, medium carbon steel, high carbon steel. Okay. So in market we can see thousands plus varieties of steels. Okay. So just by varying the little bit compositions, you can vary the property of the steels. Okay. So steels and cast iron are basically type of ferrous alloys. So again this cast iron, further it is classified as white cast iron, grey cast iron, malleable iron, nodular cast iron. So many varieties are there in cast iron. Okay. So now we have seen the difference between the steel and the cast iron. Now let us see more in detail. What is this steel further classified into three categories, that is the low carbon steel, medium carbon steel and high carbon steel. So now let us see one by one. So here the applications like nails, okay, bolts, pins, domestic usages, in the automobile, the frames, chassis, all those belongs to this low carbon steel. Okay, so this is about low carbon steel. So second, let us see about the medium carbon steel. So this medium carbon steel, so this comes in between. The property of this medium carbon steel is better than the low carbon steel, but lower than the high carbon steel. So now let us see what is the advantage of this medium carbon steel. So here, this is the properties are in between high carbon steel and low carbon steel. So this region is most widely used for all general purpose applications. Okay, so this medium carbon steel is also called as, sometimes it's also called as mild steel. Okay, so this is more popularly used in automotives like wheel, base, axles. Okay, frames which are used for the structures, all these are used for this mild steels. Next, this is even used in the marine applications. So all these, the ship pads, base frames, the side covers, all these are made for this medium carbon steel. So even in the structural also, this is wide variety is used by the medium carbon steel. So here this is having very good ductility as well as very good hardness also. So this is having both the combinations of medium carbon steel, low carbon steel, and some properties of the high carbon steel. So this comes in between these two. Hence, it is having the optimum ductility also and optimum hardness also. Whereas in low carbon steel, the ductility was very high and the hardness was very less. But now in this case, both are good. The ductility is also good and the hardness is also good. So these type of applications are most preferably used for any type of general purpose of applications. So next is high carbon steel. So as the name itself suggests, high carbon steel. So the percentage of carbon is in between the 0.8 to 2% of the carbon. Okay. So here in high carbon steel, the properties are very high. So in this, the strength, that is the hardness, is very high, whereas ductility is very low. So this high carbon steel is generally, it is a type of brittle material. So this ductility is very less and the hardness is very high. So hence this type of material, that is high carbon steels, generally these are used for the purpose of cutting tools. Okay. So as the strength of this material is very good, so the hardness is very high, but the ductility is very less. Hence, this type of material are generally used for cutting tool purpose. Okay. So all these cutting tools like hammers, hexa blades, your chisels, okay, even the lathe machine cutting tool, all those belongs to this type, that is high carbon steel. So it is not only the carbon percentage, even some of the elements like chromium, vanadium, nickel, titanium, all are added, but the combination or the percentage of those are very less. Okay, so because of these smallest adding elements, the property will increase very high. As a result of that, you can increase the hardness. So increasing the hardness will leads to more strength of the material. So at the same time, the ductility is also compensated. The ductility will be reduced. Okay, so hence this property, that is high carbon steel, majoritarily it is used for cutting tool applications. Okay, so these are very hard and brittle, and this is ductile. Okay, so this is about this section, that is what steels. So all these steels are classified into three categories, that is low carbon steel, medium carbon steel and high carbon steel. So we have seen here in the earlier case, that is low carbon steel and its applications, medium carbon steel and its applications, high carbon steel and its applications. And even the percentage of the carbon also varies accordingly. Okay, so all this has come from this, and this, that is differentiating between the steels and the cast iron, it comes from this iron carbon equilibrium diagram. So the base for this is what? The ferrous and non-ferrous elements. So whenever we talk of ferrous elements, first come to our mind is iron carbon equilibrium diagram, and iron is the base element and other elements are in very smaller proportion. Okay. So this is what the overall summation of this steels. Okay. So even in your syllabus, it is mentioned iron carbon equilibrium diagram. So you can see here, it is classified as steels and cast irons. So we have seen this as cast iron this as steels. In this iron carbon diagram, we can see up to this percentage, we can see steels. Beyond this, it is cast iron. So in this overall, if you could look and see, so this steel further classified as low carbon steel, medium carbon steel and high carbon steel. And this side is cast iron. Cast iron consists of white cast iron, grey cast iron, malleable, all these are again classifications of cast iron. Now one important you could observe here, in this there are three important reactions. So those reactions occur here. This is the first one, this is the second one, and this is the third one. So here three important reactions occur, that is the eutectic, and first reaction is called as eutectic. Okay, so this is eutectic reaction. Now if you can observe it very carefully, so above this point, okay, so just if you go even here, the temperature is 1127. Just if you go 1128 degrees, that is 1 degree just above, then it enters into the liquid zone. If the temperature is reduced to 1126, then it comes to solid zone. So this is liquid and this is solid. So austenite and cementite. Austenite is here and cementite is here. So if you just come 1 degree below, it is solidified. If you go just 1 degree or even 0.1 degree, it is liquidified. So at only that particular point, at exactly 1127 degree temperature, okay, the temperature is 1127 and the composition of carbon is 4.33%. Some people and some authors even they say it as 4.17, doesn't matter. It depends upon country to country and author to author. So generally 4.33 is acceptable. So only at 1127 degrees and 4.33% of the carbon, okay, so this reaction occurs. So even 0.1 variation or 1 degree variation, this will not happen. So if this percentage of carbon is varied by even 0.1%, 0.2%, then it enters into this phase, that is liquid plus solid phase. And even if it is this side, you can see here it enters into the austenite plus liquid phase. This side cementite plus liquid phase. Only at this particular point the liquid is converted to solid. So it means that one molecule of liquid is transferred to two solids. So this liquid is transferred to two solids. Which are those two solids? That is austenite and cementite. This is austenite, cementite. Austenite and cementite. So this is the liquid. One molecule of liquid is transferred to two solids. So that is austenite and cementite. Okay. So some people even call it as ledoubrite also. So let us not bother much about the ledoubrite. Generally you can think that one molecule of solid is transferred to two molecule of solids, that is austenite and cementite. And this occurs only at 1127 degrees and 4.33% of the carbon. Okay. So this is all about the first reaction, that is the eutectic reactions. And all these three reactions, 1, 2 and 3, these are called as invariant reactions. So you cannot vary the temperature as well as composition. So these will be fixed. Okay. So this is about the eutectic region. So you can see one molecule of liquid is transferred to two molecules of solids, and this occurs at 4.3% of carbon, and this comes under cast iron. Okay. So now you can see the second reaction. The second reaction. So second reaction is called as eutectoid. So this reaction is called as eutectoid. This occurs only at the temperature is 727 degrees centigrade, and the composition is 0.8%, and this comes in the region of steels. So this is the steels region. This is the steel region. This is the cast iron region. So in the steels, now you can see you got the eutectoid reaction, and this occurs only at 727 degrees temperature and 0.8% of the carbon. Okay. So now let us see what happens. So here is the austenite phase. So this is the austenite which is converted to which one? Two solids. Which are the two solids? Ferrite and cementite. So this austenite is transferred to ferrite and cementite. This austenite, one molecule of austenite, okay, so one molecule of austenite, one molecule of solid is transferred to two molecules of solids. Which are these solids? Cementite. Okay. So one solid of austenite will be transferred to two solids of ferrite and cementite. So this reaction is called as solid to solid reactions. Whereas earlier, first one was converted to liquid to solid reaction. This is called as solid to solid reaction. Okay. So the significance of this is what? It occurs only at 727 degrees and 0.8% of the carbon. So where one molecule of the austenite, okay, or the solid is transferred to two solids. Which are those? Ferrite and cementite. Okay. So this occurs here, and this is the solid to solid reaction. And the third reaction peritectic reaction. Okay. So this peritectic reaction occurs here at this junction. So I'm just going to enlarge it. Okay. Now here in this region you can see delta plus liquid. So this side is delta, this side is austenite plus liquid. So here this is austenite. So now you can observe very carefully. So one molecule of solid and one molecule of liquid, that is one liquid and one solid, is transferred to one solid. Okay. So which is this liquid? This liquid will be same, and this solid is what? Delta. So this delta will be transferred to one solid, which is the austenite. So liquid plus delta phase is transferred to austenite phase. Okay. So in this case, one liquid and one solid will be transferred to one solid. So this one solid will be transferred to two solids. So here one liquid will be transferred to two solids. So here we are going to see three different reactions, that is peritectic, eutectoid and eutectic. So here it is peritectic, eutectoid, peritectic. So there is one more reaction called as peritectoid. This is peritectic. So peritectoid is also a type of reaction, as you can see, eutectic, eutectoid, similarly peritectic and peritectoid. So this peritectoid comes in the aluminum silicon phase diagram. Okay, so in the aluminum silicon phase diagram, that comes under non-ferrous alloys. So when we discuss about the non-ferrous alloys, that time we can see about the peritectoid alloys. Okay, so here basically there are four different reactions. Out of four, three occurs in the iron carbon equilibrium diagram, one occurs in the aluminum silicon diagram, which is called as peritectoid. Eutectic, eutectoid, peritectic. Okay, so with respect to your examination, final examination, this is one of the important question. Okay, so this is most significant, likely to come in your exam. So this is one of the important question. Okay, so iron carbon equilibrium diagram is one of the significant for your exam. Okay, so probable question. So this is all about the iron carbon phase diagram, where you can see one liquid and one solid is transferred to one solid. So this one solid, and this occurs only at what condition? Here the temperature is 1439 and here it is 0.15% of carbon. Only at this condition this occurs. Okay, so this is about the peritectic reaction. So and all these reactions 1, 2 and 3 are called as invariant reactions. Okay, and the journey of ferrous elements started, and it covers all this here in this single diagram only. Hence this diagram is very, very important in your second unit. Okay, so if you understand the significance of this iron carbon diagram, so then entire unit is easy for you to understand. So the base for this ferrous elements is this only, iron. So the minor contributor is carbon. So adding carbon to iron, okay, will contribute all these things. Okay, so here steels again subclassified as low carbon steel, medium carbon steel and high carbon steel. So now when we see here, okay, so I will explain here only. So as you are aware, here 3, so I am just rewriting here. So you can see here up to this, okay, and 0.8. So this is 0.8, somewhere you can take it here. Okay, so this is region called as eutectoid, and at 4.3% here you can take eutectic. Okay, so this is steels. Cast iron. Now the left side of this, okay, the left side of eutectoid is called as hypoeutectoid, and the right side of this is called as hypereutectoid. and this is up to this. And this is eutectic. Left side of this up to this steels is called as hypoeutectic, and up to 6.61% this side is called as hypereutectic. So further, this steel up to this 2%, this side is called as steel. So this further it is classified as hypoeutectoid steel, hypereutectoid steel, hypoeutectic steel, and hypereutectic steels. Okay. So again, in these so many varieties, in these so many varieties, in these so many varieties, in these so many varieties are there. Even if you change 0.01% of the carbon in iron, the property will change. Hence, like this, you can see here, as I told earlier, you can have more than 1,000 varieties of steels. Okay, so for the different applications, if we change one element, again the property will change. Okay, so when we deal with coming classes, then we will understand that. So now, what I mean to say is, so this is the ferrous alloys. Again, the ferrous alloys is, again further it is declassified into so many varieties. The ferrous alloys into the steels and cast iron, further steels into the low carbon steel, medium carbon steel, high carbon steel. If you look again more detail, again you can be classified as hypoeutectoid, hypereutectide, and hypoeutectic, and hypereutectic, and so many. Okay, so this list goes on increasing. Okay, so this is about the overall. So now I would like to summarize the overall about what we discussed in today's class. So here one thing I would like to say. So this the study of this ferrous material is very important, because from the, if you look from the history to till date, so this material have been classified into many ages like Iron Age, Bronze Age, now present plastic or the composites age, like this. So at the beginning, when the material was known to the mankind, so they started the journey from this ferrous alloys only. So hence it is more popularly used alloy is ferrous alloy. So nowadays so many elements are coming, or so many materials are coming. So even composites are coming, even in the composite, hybrid composites, so many developments have occurred, but still they are not able to replace 100% by this ferrous alloys. So they are developing many alternate materials, but they are not in a position to replace this ferrous alloys into by 100%. Okay, so still 40 to 60% of the general purpose applications for the domestic as well as the construction, aviation, still we are dependent on the ferrous alloys only. So when we look at the ferrous alloys, so where the iron percentage, or the iron contributor, or the iron element is dominant in the material. So those type of elements are called as ferrous alloys. It doesn't mean that other elements are not there. No, other elements are also present, but they are in very minor form. Okay, so and this becomes exactly reverse in case of non-ferrous alloys, where the other elements like aluminum, copper, okay, zinc, magnesium, titanium, all those will be major part, and iron may or may not be in there, and even though if it is there, it is in very smaller quantum. Okay, so hence it is non-ferrous alloys and ferrous alloys. So again, these ferrous alloys is subclassified as steels, cast iron, below 2% of the carbon, it is classified as steels. From 2% of carbon to 6.67, it is called as cast iron. Further, these steels are classified as low carbon steel, medium carbon steel, high carbon steel. Okay, and from where we have got all these? We have got all these from the iron carbon equilibrium diagram. So I think you have studied all this more in detail in your UG class. But this is just a recall and background of for these ferrous elements. Okay, so again in this ferrous element, the base for this is iron carbon equilibrium diagram. So here, as I have drawn here, the temperatures are different, and this side is the carbon percentage, this side is the temperature. If you vary any one, the proportion and the property will change. So you need to remember this diagram, practice and remember, understand. If you have any difficulty, you can anytime you can call back and clarify your doubts. So this is very, very important. Okay. So this here, this is the weight percentage of the carbon, the temperature here. You should remember all these temperatures. That is 727 at this alpha phase, 910, 1127, 1400, 1439, 1539, and this side is the composition of the carbon. So this side is 0, and the minimum solubility at room temperature of carbon in iron is 0.008%, and the maximum solubility of carbon in iron is 6.67%. So at 4.3% of carbon and at 1127 degrees, the reaction occurs. The first reaction occurs, that is the eutectic reaction, and at eutectic reaction occur at 727 and at 0.8%. Okay, and at here it is also called as pearlite. This is this reaction here, the phase is called as pearlite, and here it is peritectic. So peritectic occurs at the 1439 and the composition is 0.15%. Okay, so these are the three invariant reactions. So you need to remember all these. So here it is the pure phase, that is ferrite, austenite and delta and cementite. These are the stable phases and pure phases. So these are the intermediate region where the ferrite and cementite, this is the region between the ferrite and cementite. Here it is austenite and cementite. Here it is, this is austenite, liquid. So in this, in between, this is austenite and liquid. This is cementite. So this region is liquid and cementite. So if you should be aware of all these things. Okay. So this is what the base of iron carbon equilibrium diagram and the base of ferrous diagram or the ferrous alloys. Okay. So I'm going to stop here. So if you have any doubts, any questions, if you are arising any questions and any further clarification is required, you can mail me or you can call me and get your doubts clarified. Okay. So in the coming class, I'm going to start from here. Just you go through the video, and if you need doubts, you can call me back.